Well, welcome to the Massage Heights podcast, where this week's guest is Nate Connect. Welcome, Nate.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
I'm glad to have you. For our listeners today, I just wanted to mention real quick, you have one retreat in Rancho Pensaquitos, which is in the San Diego market of California.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to be a businessman. I didn't want to leave small business. That's kind of in my DNA. So we looked around at all kinds of options, and because it was my first, adventure into franchising, I kind of want to go the low risk route.
Mm-hmm.
So that led me to Chick-fil-A, because Chick-fil-A has a great value system that I love.
Yes.
And I love their company, their culture, their founder.
How do you think that has translated into your Massage Heights business? What skills do you think you learned there that have translated in to help you?
The people part, but it's more of the order of how to arrange your affairs, I guess, in terms of getting things in line, so that before you market, you have to have the operations right. Before you have the operations, you need to have the staffing right. Kind of the ordering of your initial 12 months
mm-hmm.
to make sure that at the end of 12 months, you're set up to crank it into high gear.
Yeah.
And I feel like I learned that through trial and error, and through, I got some things right, but I learned a lot of lessons along the way as to how to not get the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts in Chick-fil-A that, thank God, they don't have that many parts in Massage Heights.
Sure, yeah.
Really, we're chopping off the entire back end of the restaurant and just focusing on people at Massage Heights. It's really just people, very little inventory.
I think that's an interesting point. I know that we're kind of skipping ahead here, but I hate to not discuss that a little bit, because restaurant business and many businesses are much more complex if you've got a lot of inventory, especially when it comes to food and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And here, to your point, our business is really all about the people,
mm-hmm.
and our product is our people. And so having a focus on our people, the culture, having a very, very deliberate focus on recruitment and retention and
mm-hmm.
all of that, I think is simple. It's complex because it's people, but all
mm-hmm.
businesses are, right? But it's a simple model in the sense that you've got just that one thing really that you need to kind of focus on.
It really is the perfect franchise for the peoplepreneur, or the people who like people, right?
I love that, peoplepreneur.
Well, I did not coin that. That was told to me a couple of years ago, but I feel like if your strength is people, Massage Heights is the perfect place for you.
Mm-hmm.
If your strength is numbers and counting food, that's Chick-fil-A.
Mm-hmm.
And my strength is more in the people. So I knew right away when I was looking at transitioning out of Chick-fil-A that I was not going to be in a 7-Eleven or an AutoZone. I was going to be in something that had people as the product. And that was going to be my sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
And you just know what you know. You know your personality is what it is. So I kind of knew right away it was going to be massage, because I mentioned earlier my experience with massage had kind of opened my eyes to this industry. And so it was a matter of which of the many companies that are out there are going to be the one I choose.
Sure.
And I did a lot of research on all the different competitors. And the one that stuck out, that looked the most like Chick-fil-A in terms of culture and values, was Massage Heights. That's why I selected Massage Heights.
Yeah. What is your favorite Massage Heights value? Do you have one? And
it is easy one. That's an easy question, because it's loyalty.
Loyalty.
Loyalty is it's one of my favorite qualities in any human being. It's very old-fashioned, which I guess I am. Maybe I'm a little traditionalist, but it's also rare. I don't see that in very many. I don't see that quality in everyone, and there's also a practical point there. I mean, loyalty is retention, and retention is loyalty. So
it's true.
It's really a quality that I don't think you learn it. I think you kind of just are. Maybe you do learn it early on, but I think it's good parenting. It's something you don't find in a lot of employees. So when I see somebody who's loyal, and you start to notice that over time, and they just are always stepping up, and they're passionate about the brand, and those are the people that I elevate in the store. And because I know they're going to be with me and I can coach them and I can raise them up to a different level. It does take time to find out if that truly is the case. But once you know they've been with you, and you just kind of, you don't want to waste time on those who are just going to be transient. So,
sure.
But I love all the other qualities. I mean, I love authenticity. I love diligence. I love the passion. I love all the qualities that we have as our four. But loyalty is my favorite.
Oh, I can understand why. And to your point, I mean, you build, I think, a loyal team member base and customer base based on how you give back to them. And you're doing that every day in your retreats. There are things that you're doing that are helping with retention of team members and your guests and members.
You can do things. You can surprise somebody. Surprise and delight, we call it. You just, what happened here? How did I get this free 30-minute upgrade today? It was on the house. Things like that create, you're starting to create a culture now. You're starting to create that halo effect, they call it, where people are talking about you after they leave.
One of the things that I say often when I'm in the field or get a chance to talk to team members, you can operationalize everything, you can standardize everything, but you don't need a manual to know how to treat people. So I shouldn't, you shouldn't have to go, oh, wait, let me see what the operations manual says here about this thing. You should just have the autonomy and just sort of the values enough to know just to do the right thing.
It's so easy, though. You just put yourself in that person's shoes.
Yes.
When I get a Yelp review that's not good, and we don't get a whole lot of them, we do get a few, and they it ruins my day. But to me, I'm looking back, I'm like, how could this have happened? How could this is so preventable. Everything in the Yelp review is preventable. This whole incident, it's usually miscommunication or it's lack of empathy.
Yeah.
It's just not thinking. It's not thinking about what the other person's, what they're thinking. So, for example, typically almost all of our negative reviews, I'm not saying we have a lot, but we do have a few, and they're typically in the accounting side of things, So, again, that's where, the manual may say, well, you're here for 12 months, whether you like it or not.
Right.
But if it's 10 months, come on, figure out a way to make this person's day. And they're going to go back and talk to their friends about you, how great you are.
That's right. Because ultimately what we want them to do is say a good word about us. If they need to cancel their membership for some reason, we of course we want to talk them out of it, find out why they're doing it. But if it comes down to, again, doing the right thing. And what are they going to say about you when they're gone or when you're gone? Are they going to say to their friends and family, like, I tried to get out of my Massage Heights membership and I couldn't, and this is how or, hey, they were really great in working with me. That's what we want ultimately.
Of course, that's all you want. You want a base that talks about your raving fans.
Yes.
You don't create that by holding their feet to the fire. So
yes, I love that, raving fans.
So I had intentionally not looked at my results because, I'll be honest with you, I thought I was doing horrible. I thought I was doing horrible. I had set the bar in my mind so high that I could not possibly have achieved what I wanted to. But I guess that's a good thing. I mean, if you set it really high and you go 70%, you're still really good.
True.
So, but what changed? I think it comes back to getting things in order and stacking one on top of the other and getting the staffing down right first. Getting that down and making sure your staff is solid, that you can be proud of your product when somebody comes in, that they're going to experience an amazing massage. And then getting the sales process fine-tuned and getting all of the, even behind-the-scenes stuff fine-tuned, like the in-massage, I guess the protocols, even during massage, we do some things maybe a little different. We really encourage the use of hot towel. We encourage things that are elevated. I mean, they're not elevations per se. They don't cost anything extra, but things that you can do that I know guests love. So we kind of work on making every massage an $800 massage because that's what a membership costs on average, Yep. So having the therapist buy in on that part. So really creating some protocols behind the scenes for each massage that make the start to finish product just amazing. And then you turn the marketing machine on because now you have the staffing, you have the protocols and the operations. Then you turn it on, then you pour gas on the fire. Yeah. And then you flood your retreat with prospects. in that order. And so early on, we were we were doing pretty well on prospects, but we weren't getting the other parts right, and we were turning away lots of guests because we didn't have enough staff. I mean, it was a waste of money, in all honesty. And we weren't, I wasn't proud of my initial, we had some good therapists and we had some that were not as good, but that way. And so I think what I learned after we lost 2 or 3 good therapists, I learned that I immediately had to start, and it was due really just to pay. Because I was going off of Texas numbers.
Sure.
And I learned quickly that I had to get way ahead of that. And then even a little more. So I went ahead of that and then went a little more. And I said, I'm never going to lose a therapist to pay again. That was my mental goal. I'm never going to lose to pay again. And so if I'm going to lose them, it's going to be because they move. That's basically it. I don't want to lose them to culture or to pay. Yeah. And so we got way ahead of that. I just basically took some of my marketing budget and put it in labor budget. That's all I did. Just shifted it over. And that was an amazing return on investment. That was the best return I've ever made on investment because all of a sudden I had a team that was passionate. I mean, they were always passionate, but their eyeballs weren't looking anywhere. And we started keeping them.
They're compensated well.
And there is the thing about therapists, it's really unusual, is they care only about that one number, the service hour. So, the elevations, commissions, the massage membership commissions, those don't matter to them as much, in my opinion. If you give them, it's because they're comparing apples to apples. Mm-hmm. So if you give them a good service hour commission, you can almost steal from Peter to pay Paul on the other things. And then you're good. Then you have a team they feel like they're appreciated. I think a lot of it's just appreciation more than even it is the actual numbers. And then at that point and then you just crank up, then you open the schedule. You get that schedule as wide open as you can get it to where there's tons of white space on the schedule. Mm-hmm. And my goal then was...
And what you mean is having lots of therapists on the schedule to be able to take guests and members.
Yeah.
So overscheduling.
Yeah. In fact, that was the one thing, if I had one nugget that I learned from Chick-fil-A was schedule for growth. That was the one thing I learned during orientation was never under schedule. Take some marketing money, put it towards labor. That is marketing. Mm-hmm. And you'll never turn away a guest again. And that was something that actually your brother Brett taught me that. Mm-hmm. He actually told me that at our first ownership meeting out in San Antonio. He's like, I think it was a week before we opened, and he's like, here's one advice I have for you. And he goes, do not have turnaways.
Yes.
He said, open that schedule up. And I said, okay. So I opened it as wide as I could. I mean, we started every day with a ton of white space. And yeah, sure, at the end of the day, we still had some white space.
Sure.
But every call that came in landed on our schedule, so they didn't go to Envy down the road. They didn't go to Elements down the road.
Yes.
Everyone landed on our schedule. And, yes, there is something nice. It's nice to know that you're busy, and it's nice to have that feeling of the demand supply curve be in your favor. But guests don't care about that. They just want to get in. They have a neck ache today. Mm-hmm. They don't care about that you're busy. They want to get in today. They actually expect that. So we live in a fast-paced, generation.
Convenience is super important.
Yeah. And so I learned to just put that curve in the guest's favor, and then they always land on our schedule. So I think there's where the marketing, then you can turn that up and you can crank it up to max. And along the way, one thing we did, and this is something that's really been probably maybe one of the other things that I've learned along the way that has worked really well was just to build up your reputation online. So, Yelp being the main one, but there's other ways, Google and Facebook. But every time we have a membership sign up, mm-hmm. that's the peak moment to ask them for a review. And because they're high on life, they're high on your massage. Sure. They're obviously committing to you for the next 6 to 12 months. So we ask every member at the time they sign up for a Yelp review.
That's a great nugget.
And it works. And so maybe 1 out of 4 will do it, but that adds up. So you get now your Yelp reviews start to climb. Then you get that extra free marketing that you didn't pay for at all. It costs $0.
It's really a referral.
It's a referral.
Best thing, best source of marketing, right?
Best source. It's internal referrals. It's all it is. Yeah. It's just a different way of doing it. It's actually the cleanest way of doing it, actually.
Sure. Yeah.
So that reputation management side of it has been also a big piece of the puzzle that I found. Again, that doesn't start to pay off for 2 years, but the best time to do it is yesterday. The next best time is today. So if you start today, you'll see a payoff in 2 years. So just start. Get your Yelps, get those 5 stars up to at least 100. Get 100 of them, and if you have a couple 1s and 2s, who cares? That shows you're a real human, your real business that has issues like anybody else. But if you get a ton of reviews, it'll organically push you up, and you'll get calls that just start to come through Yelp. And you can watch that. You can watch on Yelp how many calls you're getting strictly through Yelp, and it's crazy how it grows.
Oh, wow.
So
and team members are looking at those Yelp reviews as well, because who wants to go to work for a company that doesn't have good reviews? You can, by the guest experience that you see online, you can pretty much sort of determine what kind of company you're working for and what kind of experience you may have as an employee as well. So I'm sure that getting our new members in that high time to help you with those Yelp reviews is really also helping with your recruitment efforts.
We've had so many therapists that have told us that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like the Glassdoor idea, right?
No.
It's the only way they can really know what they're walking into without walking into it and taking a risk. That's Yelp, and that's Facebook, and that's Google. So I think it's twofold. It's a recruitment tool. It's also a prospect tool.
Sure.
And so I would say this: make sure your therapists are compensated. Make sure the schedule's opened up to the max. Make sure your reputation's being built for the future. Those are 3 key pillars, I guess, that I would say we adhere to. You can't miss out on a call. That's, to me, a call is $25.
Yes, it is gold. It actually could be more like $1,100. Our average member is worth about $1,100 annually, right? Yep. So one call really could be worth over $1,000.
Exactly. It could be, you're just basically throwing away money every time I call. And again, on that same point, this may be a little tangent, but when we get a call and we can't get them in, we find every possible way to get them in. We will open up a half an hour, get them in, say, you know what, let's give you a free half an hour today just to try us out. Then we can get you a full hour next week. But we don't want them to hang the phone up without, or we say this, we say, hey, tomorrow we do have availability. I know today's what you wanted. We'll give you a free hot stump. Come in tomorrow. Just come in to see us once. We know you'll love us. So we don't let them hang up. It's like a fish. You don't want the fish go. You do anything you can to get them in the boat. So we have that mentality at the front desk, this growth mindset of nothing is going to get away from us. Once they're on the phone, we're going to get them in the boat. It's
great. So in order to, for one, generate 400 prospects per month, right? Or let's just go back. What we want 1,000 members, right? And we would ideally have 1,000 members within the first 12 to 15 months. We know that when we get to 650 to 750 members, that's normally about our break-even point on average in our system. And for many, many years, we would get to that point in the first 6 to 9 months of business. Therefore, our owners are cash flowing and reinvesting in the business quicker. So getting these things in order that you're talking about really, really fast, which is overstaffing, marketing heavily on the kinds of things that are going to drive trial, right? And then focus on conversion of those members,
of course, yes.
But as fast as possible. And so I guess that's the thing that I'm kind of asking, because you figured out the formula, you understand the formula, and it's clicking for you. So how could we have gotten you to that in the first 12 months instead of
24?
Yeah.
So it would have been, I would say this, you have to have the ability to spend to return that. So I think I was a little bit hesitant to spend, especially on the therapist. So I think you can't be, okay, so when you're growing a business, you can't be overly shrewd on the first 12 months. You just can't be. Yep. You have to be willing to, I think that's when your marketing has to just be, and how you and your labor have to be, they're going to be higher.
Yep.
And that will get you to the members you want. But if you're trying to pinch pennies from the beginning, profit only comes. Here's my order of things. It's always operations, marketing, profit.
Mm-hmm.
Get the ops first, pour on the marketing dollars, and then focus on profit at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're focusing on profit at the beginning, you've already lost.
It's great.
You've already lost. So you can't save your way into prosperity. You have to grow first, and then you can fine tune. Profit's really fine tuning is what it is. You're fine tuning what's already a cash cow, right? So you have to get. I'm all about stepping on gas and really pushing for growth. But if you have a savings mindset instead of a growth mindset, that doesn't work in the first 12 months. That works if you take over a business that's already cash flowing. That's when it works.
Yes. Yep.
So I guess what I would say is don't be too thrifty on the front side. Really give yourself a lot of runway.
Mm-hmm.
And if that means having one retreat initially instead of two, that's fine. But get that first one cranked up, and then you'll get to that number that we're talking about.
Yep.
But if you if you feel spread too thin, you're going to automatically default into savings.
Yeah. Which is the worst thing that you can do
It's
in
the
the
worst.
beginning of a business.
It's the beginning of the end, in my opinion. If you haven't broke even yet, so then you die a slow death, and then it's like this slow death of why am I not growing? It's because you're not investing. It's a chicken and egg thing again.
Yes.
So you have to get ahead of it, way ahead of it, and you have to I don't know who it was at our first convention. Somebody told me get to 1,500 or get to 1,000 as fast as physically possible.
Yes.
I remember them telling me that, and I said, okay, let's do this. But even then, I hadn't calibrated my mind to the market as far as pay, and so I stumbled a few times on my therapists. So once I finally had that team in place, then I knew I was set up for success.
Let's talk a little bit about your gift card sales.
Okay.
So at the convention, you were recognizing for having the most gift card sales with over $100,000. What strategies do you use to drive sales? Is there anything that comes to mind that you guys do really, really well, and you think that's why you were able to accomplish that goal?
Well, we do contests for our LCs big time, and especially during the holidays, we just do a contest, and we actually have a tracker sitting behind the front desk where they visually can see where they're at. Mm-hmm. They give away good prizes, and so it encourages them to be consistent in asking. So I think consistency is the most important thing with gift cards. I don't even think there's no magic behind it. It's just don't forget to ask.
Sure.
Somebody's checking out, and you get into a habit of saying X, Y, and Z, but add on one more thing. Mm-hmm. It's Valentine's today. Would you like to buy your loved one a gift card? We have a great deal. If you can remember that, if you don't ask, you're not going to get anything. That's for darn sure.
Yes.
So just being consistent, and so to create consistency, the contest comes into play. Mm-hmm. During non-holidays, so around the rest of the year when there's no gift card promo, what we do is we essentially are inputting their loved ones' birthdays into their profile and their anniversaries. So it pops up, and if it's their loved one's birthday or anniversary, they get a reminder on that visit.
That's great.
So that's just a little thing we do.
I love that. That's awesome.
But you got to ask them, and then the first, usually at the membership sign-up day, you should ask them, because that way you can have the opportunity not to miss a whole year. Once you pass that window, it takes a whole year to get back to it again. So at the membership, the initial day that they become a member, if you could ask them that one question, enter it into their profile, you'll have 2 opportunities a year.
Wife's anniversary or wife's birthday is, or what have you. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's just extra gift card revenue that, especially guys, we don't have to think too hard about our presents. We just want to get something, and we know massage is a popular gift, or facial. So those are just outside of holiday seasons. And then we do like I said, we do flyers for gift cards during Christmas, Valentine's, and Mother's Day. Those really help bring prospects in. We get lots of calls. We get people buying over the phone. Mm-hmm. We just put it on their account or send them in the mail. We don't even have to come in. So we're really aggressive, I guess, with gift card sales during peak seasons, but we're also semi-aggressive still, even out off season. We're kind of looking for opportunities, and we post little. We have the clings, but we also have little chalkboards in front of. when you're sitting in the bathroom, you see a little chalkboard that says buy 3, get 1 free, so it's always in your face.
Extra details.
Yeah.
How do you ensure, because you talked about consistency and execution of that, so making sure that our lifestyle consultants are actually mentioning, hey, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Are there any loved ones that you have that could benefit? How do you ensure that your lifestyle consultants are doing that? How are you tracking, are you tracking their performance in gift cards each and every day or weekly? And you can see, well, if they're not selling very many, they're probably not asking. How are you managing that?
Yeah, we are. Yeah. So that's where that, it's actually a built-in accountability system, the contest is, because I could see everything on that. And we, every month, we commission them every month for gift card sales. So they know.
Okay.
There's a commission every month. We give to our 2.5%, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. So we give them 2.5% of any gift card sale. So, if you're not motivated,
there you go.
By commission, then really you're in the wrong position anyway. The LC position is not right for you.
It's a sales position.
It's a sales position.
Yes.
So I motivate them with commission. So the contest is just on top of that. It's a bonus.
Yeah. That's great. Well, that's a good little nugget for people too, just to kind of know what you're doing as far as the comp goes to help incentivize. What was your number one reason? And we kind of talked about this, but I just want to make sure I'm clear.
Okay.
What was your number one reason for choosing Massage Heights?
Culture.
Okay.
Simple. Culture, family owned, predictable, passionate about massage, all those things. But Massage Heights specifically was, honestly, like it's you and your family. So it's you guys. So it's a culture that you guys have created, and it's still not. I know, I can sense when I've talked to you that you're passionate about the 4 values and you're passionate about the culture, and that you want everybody in every retreat to just embrace them and make them their own. I can sense it. It's like, but it takes time for that to happen, and so
it's a process.
It's a process, but you gotta beat that into our heads some way. I think it's eventually gonna, just like you said. When did it click for me? It was culture just happens over time. Culture is I feel like there's already a great culture in the company. And I know I can sense you want even more of it. So, it's just one of those things where I think the leader has to cast a vision over and over and over and over until people get sick of it. And then it becomes part of their DNA too.
Sure.
So we all take on the image of essentially you. We all end
no pressure.
But it's going to end up being, your fingerprints are going to be everywhere at some point. And the sooner we can get that in every retreat, all 150 or however many we have, the better. And then we're all on the same page, rowing in the same direction. And then growth really, I think that is really growth happens after culture is built. I don't think you can get it. You can, but it's short-lived. You can reverse that, but it's short-lived. Chick-fil-A just passed. They're the number one. Well, they've always been the number one for a long time. The number one grossing restaurant per unit, but they're the number one now for sure in the chicken arena. But that took a long time to pass KFC. So that doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
This could be a 50-year thing, So, and if we're looking to beat massage envy in numbers, I would say let's just look at beating them in culture.
Absolutely. And we have the ability to do that because we're still small enough to do that. And we started down that path of really trying to make sure we brought the right franchise partners in years ago. And it's, probably 6 or 7 years ago when we sort of redefined our values, our mission, vision, our purpose, and all that, and bringing in franchise partners that really were representative of our own values very much. So they say that culture eats strategy for breakfast,
maybe,
or lunch. I don't know. Every day, yeah,
it's gone. Who cares when it is?
And that is true. And so that's the number one reason you joined Massage Heights, or what was appealing to you then. But what was appealing to you about the business model itself? Okay. I guess is my next question. You answered the first question, but the next question is the business model itself. What was the most appealing to you then and now?
Well, it's just the membership-based model. Yeah. I think you mentioned earlier, I do another business as well. It's membership based. I will not do another business unless it's membership based because I just like the predictability of it. But predictable revenue, relationship heavy. I like that part of it. Those two things. But the systems are there. You don't have to recreate the wheel. It's just there. And if you follow the manual and you don't veer too far, as most of us can. But you
entrepreneurial spirited.
Yes, everybody thinks that they can do it better than Shane. No, you can't. No, but if you just follow the basics and you get those down, it's gonna eventually, if you just get the other pieces right, it's gonna pay off. It may not be 6 months, it may not be 12, but it could be 24. But then once it has paid off, and that sense of that weight coming off, and then that sense of pride of ownership, and that sense of you actually buy in again. It's like a second honeymoon,
Yeah.
And then you kind of just like you're you just want to be in Massage Heights land. You want to invest more of who you are, and you want to you're more engaged. That's the right word.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, it's the predictability of it. I don't know how to say it out of the way. I don't like to take huge risks without a return.
No, I think that's probably the number one reason. I mean, when we built the model, that was so important, because you can, with predictable revenue, you can then protect your scheduling, your marketing efforts, all those things. Mm-hmm. And you have sort of, the ability, with every new member, you're growing that revenue every single day. So, and the nice thing too is, gosh, even if your store is closed for some reason, disaster happens, those transactions are still running. You're not going to ever go a day where there's no revenue and no money in the bank.
Oh yeah. Holidays, actually, I enjoy them because my labor is zero, but my revenue is still going. I actually enjoy taking
it. Well, we did $8,000 today. We weren't even there.
It's a great
that's
feeling.
Awesome.
I mean, that's what we look for, right?
That's good. Thank you for your time. I really enjoy having you here. You're just a great, great, great guy, and we all love you at Massage Heights.
Stop it.
Have since the beginning, and I'm so appreciative that you made the drive to come and just kind of share your expertise with the franchise family, because again, they wanted to hear from you, and just very grateful for the friendship, and grateful to have you.
It's as I say in Chick-fil-A, my pleasure. It's been my pleasure.
I love it.
Should we end on that?
I think we should end on that. Well, okay. I'm going to look into the camera for a second and tell our Massage Heights family that, hey, you've heard from us today, and we would love to hear from you. So if you would like to hear from any other guests, special speakers, any specific content that you want to know about, please send us a message at communications@massageheights.com. Also, hope that you will subscribe to the YouTube channel and watch or listen to the podcast every single Friday. Thank you. And as always, elevate the everyday.